My crush posted fake texts that made me look like a predator and it destroyed my life. I have become a depressed and mentally abused individual who was abandoned by all his friends and family, and it is all due to social media. In the summer of 2017, I was a normal 15-year-old kid who was tempted by the allure of Instagram. Everyone at my school was using it, including the girl that I had a crush on. My mom was old school, however, and I wasn't allowed a phone before 2017. And even when I was, it was the lowest model of a smartphone that you had ever seen. My dad had passed away when I was just a baby, and she was raising me as a single mother who didn't have a lot of money. But I didn't care about that. All I saw was that I finally had a phone that could install Instagram. And so I did exactly that. I found a place in my house where my mom couldn't look over my shoulder, and made an Instagram account. I sent follow requests to all my friends and they followed me back. We used to hang out at school daily, so they were all really happy for me and congratulated me on finally getting established on social media. I made some posts, most of which were very cringe, but at the time it felt like I was the happiest kid on earth. A couple days in, I actually got a follow request from my crush. I had been desperately trying to search for her account, so this was truly a blessing. I immediately accepted it and followed her back. But I was too scared to text her first because I didn't want to be labeled as a creep. Surprisingly, not only did she follow me, she also was the one who texted me first, asking how I was doing. I obviously replied in a very enthusiastic way, and we started talking. It turns out that we had a lot in common, especially our taste in music. So a few days go by and we are talking for around 2 hours daily. My mom sometimes yelled at me to get off my phone, but I wish I had listened. I hid from them the fact that I was on Instagram, and was talking to a girl. And then, a life-altering event happened that changed how I viewed the world as a whole. Summer break was getting closer and closer, and I wouldn't be able to see my crush at school anymore. So I was considering confessing to her via text and just shooting my shot. While I backed out from that decision, our conversation one day kept on going in that direction. We were talking about relationships and love when she asked me if I had a crush. Instead of answering, I asked her if she had one and she said yes. For some reason, I got really excited and just blurted out that yes, I have a crush, and that crush is you. It was all downhill from there. She didn't reply to a single text after that. I thought I had completely fumbled it, but it wasn't the end of the world, right? Well, apparently it was for her. The next day she posted some texts from my account to hers that I had never seen before. They were disgusting, vile messages that were threatening to do things to her that I had never even known existed. I knew that I had never sent those texts, and asked her why she posted a fake screenshot, but she didn't reply. Everyone who saw her story immediately believed that it was real and turned on me like I was a villain. I got texts from all my friends calling me a creep and a degenerate. I kept trying to deny the accusations, but it was of no use. There were still 2 more days left before summer break started, and they were going to be hell for me. I was avoided like a plague in my classroom, and no one wanted to even look at me, including my ex-crush. I shouted at everyone like a madman, saying it wasn't me. I never sent those texts. By that point, any feelings I had for her were long gone and I was just desperate to prove my innocence. Well, apparently, one of the girl's parents had seen what she posted and had contacted the school to report me for harassment. You would think that the school would conduct an investigation to find out the truth, but no. They immediately believed that what the girl was saying was true and she was the victim, while I was the culprit. My mom was called into the principal's office to inform them that I was being suspended, and would start class 1 week later than everyone after our summer break. To say that my mom was angry would be an understatement. As soon as we got home, she began yelling at me as if I had actually roped that girl. You are effing disappointment. I went through so much to raise you all on my own, and made sure to instill good values in you. But you proved that I am a bad mother. Now everyone will think that I am a weak woman who couldn't raise her son to be a proper gentleman. I never want to talk to you again. Once again, I screamed that it wasn't me who sent those texts, but my screams fell on deaf ears. True to her words, she didn't say a single word to me for the next month. A 15-year-old kid who had lost all his friends and was being ignored by his only family was bound to go into depression. At first, I was no different than a cringy teenager who faked depression for attention. I would avoid eating and stay in my room, refusing to come out. But instead of attention, my mother just kept on ignoring me. If I didn't come down to eat, then I could starve in my room for all she cared. Nevertheless, I would only come out for food and otherwise stay inside. The only TV in our house was in my mom's room, so I obviously couldn't watch that. Even though she never said a word, I could tell from her eyes when she was angry and when she wasn't. I would hear her getting berated and insulted by neighbors because they got wind of what I had allegedly done. Every single time that happened, she would come home and glare at me like I was the devil, but still never said anything. So I tried to find solace in social media, also known as Instagram. But that was the source of my pain in the first place. I would keep scrolling through memes until I fell asleep. I would also sometimes get messages from people who used to be my friends, saying that they forgive me. And then they would post my replies on their story with laughing emojis. I deleted that app but soon reinstalled it because I had nothing else to do. A lot of my school friends lived near me, so I couldn't go outside out of fear. That's how my summer break went. What happened when I went back to school? No one had forgotten my actions, and everyone was still treating me like crap. Even teachers would ignore me if I tried to ask a question. I tried to get my crush to retract her statement, but she was always surrounded by boys who would beat me up if I approached her. Eventually I just kept making excuses to not go to school. It wasn't hard at all, since my mom was still not talking to me. She would iron my clothes and prepare breakfast in case I wanted to go to school, but won't wake me up or tell me to go if I didn't go on my own. She didn't care one bit about me anymore. My grades inevitably dropped as a result of all this. The one teacher that still cared about me recommended that I go to the school counselor to sort my mental health. And what did that counselor do? told me to sit on a chair in the corner and kept texting someone on her phone. My entire life was falling apart just because of a false intimate harassment claim. And the worst part was yet to come.